Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Triple Double Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Eddie Fitzgerald.
I'm Cam McKee.
I'm Hunter Nicely. It is Halloween night right now.
Yeah, and we got some spooky storylines coming your way, so be sure to continue to listen to our podcast. If you are listening on the YouTube, please give us a like, please give us a comment, and hit that subscribe button. If you're listening on the website, please give us a share on your favorite social media platform. Or if you're listening on the SoundCloud, please give us a couple likes and share our page. As always, follow us on Instagram to see what's always coming with the crew. With the first things first coming into the storylines, fellas, who would have thought that these teams would be leading the conference at this point? You know, you're looking at the Boston Celtics, the Orlando Magic, and the Detroit Pistons are your top three seeds if the playoffs happen today. It's still a long 8.
We don't need Hayward. We just need Aaron Baines.
Yeah, man. I'll tell you what. It's crazy. It's and the Western Conference itself is absolutely nuts to me. It's the Memphis Grizzlies, and the Clippers. They're the top two seeds. It's spooky. It's Halloween.
Let's just hold on now. We're 6 and 7 games in on these teams. We just can't be jumping the gun too quick.
I'm not saying that like any of these teams are gonna be like.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Anything come towards the end of the season, but like.
I think it'd be really crazy though if it's like we're like a month, 2 months in and it's staying like this. Yeah. That's where it'd get weird.
It's certainly just a weird vibe that I'm getting from this NBA season. I mean, I love to watch basketball. I love seeing the highlights and everybody like doing different things. But all right, with that being said, let's go in to our first. We'll go around each of us, and we'll talk about one storyline that we think is the biggest so far out of these first 6 or 7 games. Hunter, you want to start us off?
Well, my biggest storyline, I'm going to start out with the Orlando Magic. So I said Orlando Magic, their head coach Frank Vogel was going to be the first guy fired this season. We were all wrong on that. It was Earl Watson, I believe, 3 games into the season, maybe 2. But this Magic team has really, really surprised me. They're 5-2 right now, tied for first in the Eastern Conference. Nikola Vucevic looks like a totally different guy. He's playing defense. He's making his threes. I mean, he looks like a serious force, an all-star for this Orlando Magic team. You know, Evan Fournier's been playing well. Like, they're just playing really, really good team basketball right now, something I think nobody really saw coming.
No, certainly. And Aaron Gordon has really taken a nice leap forward, especially with kind of taking it and making the team his own. There are so many different... I mean, like... Out of all those teams that I listed, that like why I'm shocked that they are there now, the Orlando Magic are playing really good on both sides of the ball, and I wouldn't be shocked if they keep that up because they do have the pieces. I think they needed to trade Elfrid Payton because I don't think that he fits long term. But you're looking at a team who's second in offensive rating so far, and 12th defensively, according to Basketball Reference, and I think that to me speaks volumes about just the overall team play. Because I don't look at this roster and I'm like, oh, this is a Stars team. You know, you're looking at a good, solid team basketball for the Orlando Magic. Cam, what's your storyline?
Well, there's just so many stories going on this year where it'd be like the Celtics recovering from the injury, Markelle Fultz already hurt on the 76ers. But I think the biggest one, in my opinion, I got to give some credit here to Hunter, Blake Griffin. He is showing up so far this year. The Clippers are currently tied for first in the Western they're half a game behind because they played 6 and Grizzlies have played 7. But they are playing very well right now without Chris Paul. It's always early in the season, you can't say, but if Blake Griffin keeps this up, I know all the hype train is on Giannis Antetokounmpo right now, but if Blake Griffin stays steady, he might be a contender at the end of the season for MVP.
Certainly. And I think that one thing that's important with, Balake is his ball handling ability. We never really got to see that with Chris Paul. He's really good at distributing. He can drive. And his shooting has really improved. Like, he's taking a lot more outside shots. And I think that by having that spacing between him and a center like DeAndre Jordan, who's just going to be down there and, like, just grabbing boards, will not only help with the overall team aspect and playing more of that like run and gun style, but having DeAndre down there as a defensive rebounder is something that I think the Clippers kind of needed. And I don't know if Chris Paul, like, you never want to lose a star, but Chris Paul like leaving this team might have actually been a spark for the Clippers.
Do you think DeAndre Jordan gets traded this season to help out that spacing?
Not if they're playing like this.
I don't think
if they keep winning.
I don't think.
Yeah, I guess if you're winning, but what happens if they start leveling out?
I could see it. Yeah, it's definitely going to be a late, like day before the trade deadline, minutes before the trade deadline kind of deal.
Yeah, I would say. I mean, they shopped DeAndre Jordan a couple of years ago, but I'm looking at like their like big men, and I don't like. Harrell's good, and he can semi-stretch the floor. He's got a nice mid-range shot. I'm looking at like their other like bigs of Bryce Johnson and Sam Decker and Gallinari, and for me, I don't see anybody that really is going to clog that paint. So I think by having a center like DeAndre Jordan to get there, get the rebounds, can just be very beneficial, especially in the playoffs if you need to keep him up, and bodying people down low, and you can get a 20 and 20 night from him late in the season. I think that's very important.
Are you guys surprised by the slow start on Cleveland? Because it really hasn't surprised me.
No, I'm not really surprised by it. I wouldn't say I expected it, but I mean, we're 7 games into the season.
Yeah, I don't expect them to not miss the playoffs or anything.
Yeah, they're gonna win 55 or so games, and they're gonna be just fine. But I think obviously their defense is a problem right now. But I mean, it was a problem last year for basically the whole year, especially in the playoffs. So I imagine now that it's this much of a problem now, it's just going to improve.
Look at the top 2 teams in the East right now, the Celtics and the Magic, both being praised for their defense. Like, people are starting to play defense now, and the Cavaliers and the Warriors can't just score all the time. Now, the Warriors are absolutely going off in the last 2 games. But other than that, so far in the start of the season, defense has been winning games for these teams.
Right.
Yeah, overall, I think the Cavs are 27th in the league in defense, and I believe the teams that are with them are I know one's the Dallas Mavericks. I know the other one is the Timberwolves. Timberwolves are the worst defensive team in the league.
Surprising.
Which is really because
not for Karl Anthony Towns, but for the rest of that team.
No. I think that Tibbs was brought in there to teach these young guys how to play defense, and that's this is a whole nother debate for a whole nother time. But it's very surprising to me how that the Timberwolves just haven't been playing defense, and like Karl Anthony Towns has all the skills to do so, but he's not doing it. But as I was saying, the Cleveland Cavaliers, I'm looking at you look at the roster. I read an article the other day. It said it's not that they're bad at defense. They're old. They're
slow.
It's an old, slow team, and old, slow players are not necessarily known for their defense. Jay Crowder, who we thought was definitely going to be a defensive stopper in that Kyrie Irving trade, has not looked great. His defense the past 2 seasons has just been, I think, overhyped. Overall, as a nice wing defender, some guy who could shut down a Kevin Durant or Klay Thompson in the playoffs.
Man, if only someone had noticed that and commented on that earlier. But that's all right. I'm pretty happy with the trade right now.
And it's a rough thing because now you're looking at starting a Derrick Rose or a D-Wade, people who can't shoot, they can't play defense, but they can kind of drive and they can kind of still do things.
Well, D Rose is hurt, isn't he?
D Rose is now, just got hurt.
Big shocker there. Big breaking news in the NBA.
But Isaiah Thomas, whenever he comes back, where does he fit on this team? He can kind of create his own shot, but he's old. He doesn't play defense, and
no, that defense might get worse when Isaiah Thomas comes
back. You can't ever say the defense is going to get better with Isaiah
Derrick
Thomas
Rose
on the court.
Or D Wade, as your backcourt's already not very good, but you add Isaiah Thomas to that, it's just going to get worse.
You're looking
and worse.
at a starting lineup of possibly, Isaiah Thomas, who can't play defense. J.R. Smith, who cannot play defense. LeBron, who cannot guard 5 players. Kevin Love, who's not great on defense. And Tristan Thompson, who's at
average.
being like
He's average.
being like a rim protector. But he's not like gonna shut down the opposing team's big. I'm looking at the starting lineup and I'm thinking, how are you going to stop a team like the Warriors who are just gonna drop, their 4 guys on you and they're just gonna drop 50 points each? It's the Cleveland Cavaliers to me. Like the slow start, and I don't think that they'll miss the playoffs because LeBron.
I think this is the dream team of 4 years ago.
Definitely,
it's old.
Definitely, yeah. And I think one thing I really hated about the Cavs team last year is I felt like they built that team to play the same style as the Warriors and to beat them at their game, which I think is the complete wrong way to try and beat the Warriors. I think you have to play ground and pound, slow, possession by possession, good man-to-man defense to beat them.
You can't win a shootout against Billy the Kid. Like you get into that offensive matchup, you're gonna lose against the Warriors. You can't go toe-to-toe with them in a shootout because it's just not going to work.
Like especially, we'll do a team like the Blazers. The Blazers are very good offensively, and they've matched up with the Warriors, I think, twice in the last 3 years in the playoffs, and they've been swept both times. And it's not that they haven't been competitive. You just can't beat the Warriors at their own game.
Yeah, exactly.
And I mean, like, oh gosh, Cleveland is in trouble when it comes into like the June time.
I think they're going to be tired. I think even without playing defense, they're going to be fatigued when the season.
They're going to need to try to win some games. They're old. I know that like they're used to it and what their abilities are, but there has to be a trade. You got to make a trade.
Yeah, and
you got to find somebody, and whether that's Eric Bledsoe, and you have to start 2 point guards, or you're looking at somebody else when it comes to the trade deadline.
Oh, yeah. If I'm Cleveland, I'm going hard after Eric Bledsoe. It's
not like they don't have a lot to give up for.
They don't have anything.
They don't have any. They might just.
They have the Brooklyn pick, but I wouldn't say that as far as value goes for Eric Bledsoe, especially with him not wanting to be there, that you get a first round Brooklyn Nets pick for Eric Bledsoe.
Did Isaiah play for Phoenix?
Yes.
Can he get traded back to Phoenix?
I mean, he can.
Yeah.
But
I could see
he's gonna be really, really mad if he does.
I could see like an Isaiah and like a Kyle Korver and like another guy in a draft, like just some of those groupings together for like Bledsoe.
I think that you could get maybe, if I'm looking, you might want to give up a second round pick and maybe Zizic or Osman. They're 2 rookies. Who are on the team who don't play much, but it fits with what the Suns are doing, and you got an idea of what, you can bring in another talent. I would probably say Zizic is probably the best option for them. Nice, big rebounder.
I got to feel bad for the guy because that'll be his second trade in a matter of a couple months.
Probably still hasn't touched the floor yet. I don't know if he's played for the Cavs. I haven't been watching too much Cavs basketball. It's been too bad. Moving on, though, my biggest storyline out of this first 5-6 games, I was blown away. I don't want to overplay the fact that I'm a Sixers fan, but the Markelle Fultz drama saga to me was disheartening as a fan. I thought that the situation was handled so poorly, and the fact that his agent had to come out and speak on Markelle's behalf, and it seems like no matter who's involved, we always get a different story. Whether it's the team saying we didn't pressure Markelle to play, people say his agent saying they pressured him to play, Markelle being like, my shoulder hurts or my shoulder doesn't hurt, and them saying that he didn't work on his shot when he did work on his shot. And it's very interesting to try and piece together this puzzle, and we have no idea. It's a PR nightmare. If you guys are unaware, Markelle Fultz is sitting for these next couple games, which I think is brilliant. You don't want somebody who's not going to be healthy and not going to make a positive impact and not going to shoot the ball as a shooter on the floor for you. He got there's 2 scenarios. He either got fluid drained from his shoulder because of the injury, or he got a shot of cortisone into his shoulder, and that affected the injury. And there were reports that he couldn't raise his arms above his head during practice, and yet coaches were still making him to play. And I'm not sure if that was Markelle Fultz just putting the pressure on himself to do all of that, but overall, I was just disheartened as a fan to hear all these all these different sides and just becoming a PR nightmare. When Simmons is just getting, absolutely amazing numbers night in, night out. He's averaging 18 points and 7 assists. He said today to the media that he thought he'd be doing better, but it's just getting drowned out by this Fultz drama. And the sooner he gets back out there, hopefully his confidence isn't swayed. But man, it's been a rough couple days.
Yeah, if I'm the Sixers, I'd say I sit Markelle Fultz until I know for sure that he is healthy. We've seen Joel Embiid. He's in technically his third season. He's played 35 games in his career. Ben Simmons sat out his
yeah, they don't seem to have a problem with sitting players, so I don't know why it's been so different on this.
It's there's a theory that I've been reading. I was on the Sixers subreddit, and people are saying that it's the Colangelos.
That's what I heard as well.
They are forcing Markelle and the people who they got to play because they want to try to win right now. They want to prove to everybody, because the whole trust the process, Hinkie died for our sins, Sam Hinkie's the god of Philadelphia, all that talk, it can kind of get to your head as a general manager of a team, and you traded for this guy. Ben Simmons wasn't your pick. It was an easy pick. I mean, the Colangelos were in power at that time, but whenever Sam left. But Joel Embiid was Sam's guy. Robert Covington was Sam's guy. All these players were all Sam Hinkie guys. And now you're looking at, Markelle Fultz, J.J. Redick, Amir Johnson, who are now your new Colangelo guys. And as a, guy, you're going to, as a general manager, you're going to want to try to get those players out there to try to prove to your, supporters and your fans that, hey, our administration isn't so bad, It's a tough call, and I don't know who's to say. I feel like that scenario seems very likely to me. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah. Good news that you can get as well. Jahlil Okafor, they're not going to re-sign him.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's good. They shouldn't have. Jahlil Okafor, his on and off numbers are terrible. Unlike Joel Embiid's, I saw an interesting stat on Twitter today. Whenever Joel Embiid is out on the floor for the Philadelphia 76ers. They play like a 52-win team. He adds
they're awesome.
40 plus.
They're awesome when he plays.
When he's off the floor, they are down to 10 wins, and they play like they'd only win 10 games.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, defensively, offensively, that's just absolutely amazing that one player can have such an impact for your entire team.
Yeah. If the Celtics sign Okafor, I'll be officially done, and I will go off on a hard tangent on that one.
Best of luck to Jahlil Okafor and his future endeavors. But for the time being, enjoy being a Sixer. Enjoy trying to win some games when we weren't really going to.
Yeah, I'd say to bring up my biggest disappointment so far, I'd have to say is the Dallas Mavericks. Now, obviously,
I disagree.
Now, obviously, I wasn't expecting the Mavericks to be competing or anything this year. But right now, other than Nerlens Noel, their next best shooting player, or shooting percentage on their team, is J.J. Barea at 45%.
That's not terrible, but...
He's their second best, though. Harrison Barnes is shooting 38% from the field.
Yeah, what do you expect from Harrison Barnes?
I expect higher than 38%.
I mean, Harrison
Dirk
Barnes...
Nowitzki is shooting 40%.
This is the same exact team, but with a Dennis Smith who is now injured. So, it's not like anything's changed from last year.
There's still... Harrison Barnes is not a great player, in my opinion. I think that he's not a guy who you build your franchise around. He's a piece that you add.
I loved him at the Warriors. He's not a star player.
Like him at the Warriors.
He's definitely not a star, but, 38% on that big contract. He's shooting 15
No, he's not a star, I don't think.
He's not a star, but he's a good player.
In the series in which the Cleveland Cavaliers won out of the past 3 NBA finals, you have to kind of specify. Harrison Barnes, in my opinion, was a major key for the Cavaliers winning that series. Harrison Barnes was open time and time again, and they would pass him the ball, and they would swing it out to him in the corner, and he would shoot it, and he shot terribly. They were so, I'm pretty sure his shooting percentage was below, what it is now, especially from three-point range. but he was so bad, and he was so bad defensively that like Kevin Love was going up on him and like just doing amazing things for the Cleveland Cavaliers. It was interesting. But yeah, the Dallas Mavericks, man, they stinky basketball.
Stinky basketball.
That's
exactly what it is. Yeah.
I think that another, everybody's kind of looking at storyline. Giannis. Giannis is a big storyline. Giannis is playing out of his mind. He is, running up and down the floor. He's playing pretty well. He's getting to the rim, which I find is really, really impressive. I'm not necessarily impressive that he gets to the rim, but just the amount that he's getting to the rim and his ability to go up over the defenders. I think those amounts of highlight plays for him will, no doubt in my mind, he will be a top 5 player by the end of the year.
Oh, for sure. I mean, he's going to be. He has a really good shot at winning the MVP. Even honestly, with Cleveland's struggles, if Cleveland's struggles continue, I mean, maybe the Boston Celtics. I mean, they're looking a lot. There's a higher chance that they can maybe even upset the Cavs this year. If the Cavs keep playing the way they do, I mean, they can't play defense.
Well, watch them play playoff time. They'll be a completely different team.
LeBron had a triple-double against the Nets, and they still beat them.
Yeah, I saw, or like somebody, I think it was Colin Cowherd out of Fox Sports. He said that this has been the worst team LeBron has played with since 2007. I think that's fair to say.
Which is when he went to Miami.
When, it was 2007. I believe it was like his second or third year in the season when he led a team of nobodies to the finals.
Zindrisi Glauskas. They got swept by the Spurs in the final.
That's pretty much it. And, another point, Hunter, you're on fire so far with your NBA predictions, I must say. John Collins has been beasting and feasting so far. Every time I've been watching the Hawks, he's always trying to dunk on somebody. He's averaging 11 points, 7 rebounds, and shooting 51% from the field. The dude is absolutely nuts. John Martin Collins III, man. The dude's doing awesome. He's doing really cool things. He's shooting, extremely well. And with that being said, guys, we're going to go into our final last bit today. What is one thing that you're excited to watch for the rest of the season that you've seen with just these last 7 games? Cam, you want to start us off?
I gotta, Kyrie Irving, man. I can't take my eyes off him. He is just a wizard with the ball. And, I knew this for years in Cleveland, but I could never say it because, they're such a bitter rival to the Celtics. But he has above and beyond become my favorite player. I can watch him work all day, every day. And the team is in his hands now with the Hayward injury, and I think he's stepping up to the plate, and so are the rookies. I'm very excited to see how the rookies, not the rookies, the young guys like Rozier, Brown, and Tatum. Tatum's impressive, but I'm just so excited to watch Kyrie work and this young Boston Celtic team work their magic, see what they can do.
Yeah, I'd say I'm most excited for, obviously, I'm curious just to see if these teams like Magic, Pistons, Grizzlies are going to stay near the top of their conference. But one guy I'm really interested to see in how the rest of the season goes for him is Kristaps Porzingis. This man is averaging almost 30 points a game right now for the New York Knicks.
They still suck.
They're still not very good. But, I mean, he has been really, really killing it for New York. I'm really excited to see if he can just maintain this level of play throughout a whole season, or if he's going to start trending down like a lot of guys do.
I think definitely the biggest thing that I'm looking at is most likely going. I watch the Sixers religiously, and I hate to say it again, but I love watching the Sixers play, and I'm interested to see the Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons dynamic. If you watch them play together, they have such an amazing on-the-court chemistry. They both assist each other very, very well. And I think that watching that moving forward and watching them dunk on more and more guys and more NBA stars is just going to be absolutely awesome going forward.
And just before we do go, I just want to bring up the hottest take I think I've ever heard. Cam saying Marcin.
I just looked up the stats on him as well.
Will win Defensive Player of the Year.
He is showing up.
He's leading the Wizards in rebounds with just about 10. He's at 9.7 a game.
Oh yeah, he is.
Also averaging 1 block per game. Just to keep you updated on
the Marcin Gortat for
Defensive Player of the Year.
Defensive Player of the Year. Oh my goodness. And with that being said, our podcast has come to a close. Make sure you're having a happy and safe Halloween. Wait. Hold on. His defensive box plus minus this season, just this season, is 2.5.
That's impressive.
Very, very impressive.
Very impressive.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh my goodness. Marcin Gortat for Defensive Player of the Year. You heard it here first on the Triple Double Podcast. And as I said, please, if you are listening on the YouTube, please hit us with that subscribe button. Hit us with the like. Hit us with the comments. If you're listening on the website, please be sure to comment and share. If you're doing it on the SoundCloud, or wherever you get your podcast, please tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your mom, tell your daddy about our Triple Double Podcast. With that being said, I'm Eddie Fitzgerald.
I'm Cam McKee.
I'm Hunter Nicely.
And have a great day, everybody.